Good morning. Thanks for joining the call. And just a reminder to everyone, we are recording this session and it will be posted later on the VOLTHA channel. So when I was looking at open issues, it looks like we just have one new one to discuss today, and that's VOL 520. It's a verification issue related to work that needs to be done after VOL 507 is complete. And Kim, I believe I saw you on here. I don't know if you want to speak to this briefly.
Yeah, this will be pretty quick. So it looks like there was some, when we talk about it, some good progress on the broken unit test, VOL 507, good, and all that. And the implication will be, as I mentioned it here, the solution is to upgrade the gRPC, and it's going to have an effect on the edge core adapter. So this is a tracking issue. You know, hopefully there won't be any problem. If gRPC works like it should, this upgrade shouldn't have a problem. But there may be, right? And so there's a tracking issue for this, and I'll be checking this today. And it looks like it's low story points right now, but it could turn into an issue if we have to do upgrades on the driver's side of the adapter. So so let's see, because I was thinking this probably belonged in Sprint 2, correct? Okay. Right. Yep.
Just wanted to make sure once you were talking about story points there. Oops. Yep. Okay, let me assign it to Sprint 2 from the other view. Okay. And I'll move that in later. Then, as far as I know, that's the only open new issue. Are there other ones on the open issues list here that need to be discussed before we move on to the Sprint 2 issues? Okay. Then, actually, I think maybe, do we want to talk about 517 next, or did you want to go into the VOLTHA issues as we were just talking about some of the related work for 507?
517 is the nightly build?
Yes.
It seems to be working. That got checked in or merged in this morning. I kicked off a new build. It came back green. So once all the unit tests are all working, that will be part of that as well. So I think we're good.
Okay. I do see that it is closed off as done. I missed that. Sorry. Thank you for that. Good news.
Yep.
Okay. And then I think we can go on now to any questions before we move on. Okay. We'll still need to look at that more for as we move forward for other releases as well, to make sure we have a process in place to catch failures earlier, so that we can do that. So we can have some follow-up discussion on that later and talk about that maybe in one of our other meetings. All right, so Sprint 2, why don't we look at 475? I know there's been some discussion there and some progress there as well. So let me navigate over to where we have the updates. And there was, I believe, also a little bit of discussion or some comments on VOLTHA Discuss as well. Okay, and the latest comment we had here was related to also bumping the onus on which the Docker image is based and bumping that up as well. And we do have a new item in for Garrett review also. So have you gotten, I know we have till the close of business today for any remaining comments. Everything on track? Do you have any open issues outside of simply being open for comment?
Nothing that I'm aware of. Again, I got a comment from Amit, so that's good. Haven't heard from Nokia. So I think we'll move forward with what we got if we don't hear anything. We announced kind of comments and left it open for it. I think the direction's fine. It's just a matter of getting the work done now.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Any other group discussion on that one for today? Okay, then on to VOL 507. And this one is with the UTEST and the, yes, go ahead.
Yes, so there are two fixes for that. There's one that goes to Chameleon and one that goes to VOLTHA because they are two separate projects. I will need the Chameleon fix to be merged. It's already submitted. It's in code review. And once that is merged, then the one in VOLTHA needs to be merged. And once both of them are merged, then the U-test should be passing. Plus, there's some other U-tests that are failing now, but they won't be dependent on this one. Once this one goes in, then all the other unit tests should be able to pass with their proper fixes.
Okay.
Yeah, Julie, I verified what Ken was saying. So I have seen, with all the necessary patches, I have seen all the unit tests to work. So we're just going to have to, kind of work these all in one by one. We got to overwrite the verify fail from Jenkins to get it through there. But I think the good news after this is once those unit tests start passing, then Garrett will not accept, because of the Jenkins verify, it won't accept any patch that breaks the test again. So
okay.
that's the good outcome of this once it happens. And then one more thing I should say on the Chameleon change is that one may be temporary because the plan is, I think it was Vol 460, I forget which one it was, to remove Chameleon from the build. It may have to revert that one. So if we don't have a dependency on Chameleon, we don't have to wait for somebody to actually merge that. So, but for now, we're going to go with Ken's change for Chameleon because we know that it actually fixes things. So we'll go forward with that.
Yeah, just one thing to add about the Chameleon change. The Chameleon change in any case needs to go in because Chameleon does not compile their own protos. They get the protos from VOLTHA in any case. So if
it's a good change, you mean?
Well, it's required. It's
right. Okay. So it's a required change. So that's good.
If the Chameleon project wants to evolve beyond VOLTHA, then they will need to have their own protos and have their own compiler within Chameleon project. At this time, it is dependent on VOLTHA protos.
Okay.
Okay. Excellent. Good. Yeah, that answered a question I had in the review about that. Thanks for the update, Kim. That makes sense.
Okay, so it sounds like we're on track for this, which is great news. So thank you for the efforts there as well. Any other questions for the group or for Ken or for Kim on this item? All right. And the next one, VOL 454. Let's see. I don't know if this is still an issue with the timing where I can't see Garrett. So this was updated that the patch was submitted but not merged. The patch needs to be re-baselined. And so, David, that was a comment that you'd added after our last meeting, I believe, or maybe during our last meeting.
Yeah, right after the last meeting.
Yeah. Do we know anything more? I don't see anything in Garrett right now, and I don't know if that's just because of the time of day when we have this meeting, where it's sometimes not blinking. Okay.
It is.
So do we know, does anyone know the status of that offhand for where it is for that patch?
I don't. It should have been rebased by now, but I can double check.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay. Since it's not visible, I think we'll just have to check that one afterwards once someone can get access. So I'll try and take a look at that later today as well. Okay.
Looks like it merged this morning.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was. Well, I might have the wrong one. There's two of them for AAA in there. But,
yeah.
We should just
I merged one this morning, so I don't know if that was it or not. You have to go back and check.
Right. Let's let Jira pick it up again so we can see which one it is.
Yeah, that sounds good. So we will have to look at this once we've got some visibility again. But it sounds like there's a potential that this has moved forward and been merged, and we'll just have to wait till we can see things to figure out if this is actually complete or not. So I don't think there's much else we can do on that at the moment, unless it's, no, looking at the attendee list, I think that's, oh, go ahead. Was there another comment?
Yeah, hi, this is Amit. So
hi.
if someone could point me to, if someone could point me to the JRate review, that would be helpful.
Well, it's not popping up for me in Jira right now, so I don't know what to point you to. And that's the problem I'm having. Does anyone happen to have it noted elsewhere? I don't think so from the discussion that took place. I think we've just got to wait until we get visibility in Jira to the Jira reviews.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be resolved in a couple hours.
Yeah, actually I was also trying to look into this issue and I was not able to reproduce it. So would be interesting to see what the change was.
Okay, okay. So this one I think we'll try and take a look a little bit later today, and then hopefully we'll have some visibility and then can capture some updates for what's going on with that one.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
And welcome back, Annette.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, so 408. This is the one about the external software version should be nailed down. Do we have any info on this one? It sounded like Sergio was on PTO.
Yeah, I haven't heard back on this one.
Okay. Do you think this is at the point where we need someone else to start looking at it, or?
I don't think so, but
okay.
Sergio had mentioned it was. He thought it was going to be easy.
Okay. All right. So this one we'll wait and see if we can get an update on it for next week. And then we have one more week and a day for this sprint. Okay. Next one is 460. Let's take a look here. And is Steve on?
Hi, Julie. This is Paul Gray. Steve reached out to me, and I took a look at this. I'm not seeing any issues. I've got a little bit more review to do, but I think we're okay with it.
Okay. So after you finish your review, if you could post an update in the comment section on Jira, that would be great.
Great. Thank you. Will do.
Thank you. And then 506 is the next one. This one, Sean, I think you were on. So, Sean, I wanted to follow up with you on this one. And I see also we have a -2 on the review here in Garrett. This item for multiple pond multicast support, we'd had a question before where it could be delayed until after POC 3. And we said that was acceptable, but I still have this one in Sprint 2 and VOLTHA 1.1.0. I think that is likely not correct since we needed 419 first, and that we have later, and it's not in a sprint yet. So do you have a sense on the product owner side of, is this one we push out further? I think it probably does not belong in Sprint 2, since the issue we want to resolve first is not in Sprint 2.
I'm sorry, I dropped out and come back in. So this is this is multi-PON, multicast support, right? So
yes,
but we need to be able to support multi-PON first, right? There's a ticket for that.
Right. And so that one is not in Sprint 2. I believe we just forgot to move this one out of Sprint 2 when we had that discussion. So do you have a sense for where this one should be placed?
Multi-PON, multicast support.
Sean,
I don't.
The Sean, this is Niren here.
Okay.
We already have the multi-PON support for the regular unicast.
Right. But you have the multi-PON support for right now. Is there I don't. I'm just connecting from the. Okay.
So I moved to the related issue that we had noted for this one. Sorry.
Oh, so that's a 419.
But we already have the multi-PON support for the unicast, right? Using VENet.
It's a Atran on the call.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, that multi-PON support is only for VENet, and it'd be nice if we could see an example of that. Is Nokia ever going to open source their code so we can find out some of these ways things are actually done? Right now, we're creating our ports on the southbound side of the OLT as PON ports, and those aren't supported in multi-PON yet.
So if you use the VENet, that would give you the multi-PON support for the using VENet actually for the unicast.
Right. So basically, the solution is for the VENet, and Atran is not using VENet, so that is still an issue. So.
And I'm not aware of anyone else using VENet at this time.
Yeah, I mean, from a 2-bit perspective, we're not either right now.
So what about the edge core side?
I think it's the same for that case. I don't think we're using that VNet there either.
How about Sienna side?
Carlex is using adapter is using VENet right now.
Okay.
What was the question, Sean? I just joined.
The Sienna Maple adapter. Are you guys using VNet?
As the port type.
As the port type to ONOS? No.
Yeah. Port type on the southbound.
No, not at the moment. We're still using PON port.
So I guess this issue basically opened before the Part 3 start, and it's still an issue, right? So is it an option to select either or?
Yeah, you can choose the either or. Like that's how the changes are done. Like either you can use the PON or you can use the VENet.
But without 419, you cannot do multi-PON.
No, that's not my concern. My concern is like I can use the VENet or I can use the single PON. That's how the changes are delivered to the VOLTA. Okay. So
sorry, it's so VNet. So I don't want to come into the case without VNet, then people can only use one PON, right?
That's the 419 change, right?
But okay. So basically 419 will enable multi-PON if you are not using VENet. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Then let's merge it.
Yes.
But then, okay,
we've been
no
trying
problem.
for about 6 weeks, but it's been blocked by the module owners.
So then, Naren, can you check with Sirisha, because right now only Nokia has no issue. So let's merge it.
So John, this is the problem with us. Like, we don't want to use the PON-based mechanism.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to use it. You don't have to use it. No one forces you to.
Right? I cannot code review that. Like, maybe it would be better if somebody from Sienna or the other vendors like that, they're using the PON as a port. They can code review better than me, because that will get the better code review. Isn't that logical?
So
I can code review, but then it will be like a code review will be like a very, means like not been using it and just the code reviewing it. So that might get.
So you're suggesting maybe someone work with you on a port review, so let you understand that, and then we can merge it. I think we can do that.
Yes, that would be better. Like, because I'm not really using the PON as a port, right? So my code review will be like a blind code review.
Yeah.
Because this has been blocked right now, right? So as I said, if there are any cases, we can pick any one. Depends on what vendor is doing, right? So I don't want to force anybody to use VNet, and there may be some consequence later if they don't use VNet. But that's something they have to learn, they have to deal with. But right now, only the VNet can support multi-PON. So can someone work with Naren and then go through the port?
Yeah, and what I need to do on this, Sean, is there's been 3 changes to Flow Decomposer since I submitted this review, so the merge is broken. So I'm gonna have to. I've got those changes, so I'm gonna have to push a new merge into Garrett, so that we don't lose any the 3 changes that Nokia has made in the last couple of weeks.
And if we go through that, this is Philip. If we go through that, we need a commitment from Nokia that we won't wait another 3 or 4 weeks, because then it'll get broken again. Set something up the next day or 2.
As I said, like, it would be better if another vendor does the code review, because we are not really using PON as a port. So my code review will be like very clear code review, like without using it.
That's fine, but
might
Nokia is supposed to.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Ken.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, along with this, I forget the number, or maybe it was under 460. The device.
This issue is currently blocked.
Right, and one of the issues affecting 419 was the fact that the device VLAN field is not set. It's set to 0.
Yeah, and I published a workaround for that.
Yeah, and as you said, it's a workaround, right? There needs to be some mechanism, and I think Sirisha even agreed to look at providing a configurable way to set that field, which would allow 419 to function as chips coded it in absence of this other workaround. I agree the workaround does work, but it is a workaround.
So right now, Naren's claim, Naren said for him, since there'll be a blank reviews, then what is there anything we can do? We can add another person onto the module owner to review it.
How about just Steve and Chip work together on it?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
So after you review it, then what?
I've already reviewed it. I haven't tried it in a lab. I've reviewed the code. It did provide some comments very early on.
Yeah, and before you use again, if you're working with the current master, let me make sure you get the changes that I've merged in from the other three flow deconstructor changes.
Sure.
Because you don't want to go backwards.
Okay, so let me ask a question to the folks on the call now. So 460, the issue blocking this one, is currently targeted in Sprint 2. And then this one, 419, is not at this point. Do we need to move this one into Sprint 2? Do we think it can be done in the next week?
I would say yes.
Okay, then let's move it.
So I will put that, well, here's my Sprint.
Once the code review done, then what?
Merge it.
We need a +2.
Huh?
We need a +2.
That would be a +2. So once the +2 is done, then the module owner will have to merge it, right? Is that right?
Yeah, the module owner does the +2.
Oh, you mean then +2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean that's our convention.
Then so Naren, then you have to merge it, or Sarisha have to merge it.
I don't believe they're the module owners.
Oh no. The +2. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'll do the merge once I get confirmation.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Sergio and Ken.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, please make sure you do due diligence, because this being, as you said, blocked or on hold for 6 weeks. So there are a lot of changes, a lot of things have changed. So
Yeah.
make sure you reflect the new changes.
Oh, yeah, I've got those in there, and every time they change, there's a lot of unit tests that get changed. So that's my resistance of not wanting too much done until we get this either handled or thrown out.
Okay, so Julie, I think this is the Sprint 2.
Yep, I will do that. Okay, so we'll move 419 to Sprint 2. And then the next one on the list is 276. Oh, question. Yes?
Yeah. What will we do with the 506 then?
506? Oh.
Yes. So this was one that was depending on 419.
Okay.
Before we were trying to decide whether this one should stay in the Sprint or move out. Now that 419 is in, then we need into the Sprint 2. We need to figure out placement for
maybe Sprint 4. The field trial in 2017 does not require this. But if we is that additional work need to be done, or 419 resolved, and this will be automatically resolved? No.
Yeah, I think this is some multicast specific stuff.
I think there's still some work in XPON required to support multicast, right, Naren? There's targets, but I don't believe there's anything that explicitly calls them.
No, this is the code is inside this change in this commit actually. It's already for the review.
Yeah, Unless there's something because approval of the 419, then the XPON need to do something different.
No, but this
right?
this uses the VNet as its own base. It doesn't use the PON. It uses the VNet.
Of course.
So I am not hearing right now that it sounds like we're going to be able to get this resolved in Sprint 2. And also, I think since we had it delayed for looking at until after 419, we also don't have it assigned. So another reason that it would not be in Sprint 2, I think. Do we have placement for it? I mean, Sprint 3, we have only adapter items at this point. So I can either move it into the backlog and put it kind of at the top of the backlog.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think because
I mean, we seem to be developing two parallel paths here, right? We've got two types of ports.
That's one thing.
Yeah. That we're going to have to stop, right? Otherwise, you're going to have different functionalities for different types of ports exposed to ONOS, and that's not going to help anybody.
No.
So you either need to implement it for both types of ports, or we need to agree upon one type of port to use. So.
Yeah, when I first looked at it, I'm not sure if it's VNet specific, so I'd have to look at it again. But I know it was in some of the route information that I had to do for multi-PON, for multicast.
Right.
Okay. Steve, I totally agree with you. For the people, I mean, what's the standardized way to do things? Is VNet a standardized thing, or
it had been PON port, and then XPON was introduced, and the VNet port type was introduced following that. I think VNet port does give you access to additional configuration details, and I thought we would migrate to VNet eventually. We're not there yet, but no, there is no standard at the moment. There's two standards.
Yeah, but I looked at the actual code review, and there's for this one, Garrett reviewed. It's not any VNet specific code. It's just general multicast.
Works for both.
Okay, I hadn't looked at it. I was just going by Niren's comment.
Yes, but it is if we don't do this change, then we cannot do the multicast on the multi-PON for the VNet. So it's kind of blocking us as well.
Okay. Julie, can we? Yes. No, what I'm saying is can someone actually take a look at this and then see whether it is dependent on whether it's VNet implementation or PON port implementation? If that's not, then if we're causing some kind of two different parallel track going on, then I think that's a disaster.
Yeah, I'm looking at the code right now, the review, and it's not VNet specific.
So who's the author of it?
I think Niren, or I have to see who did that. Yeah, Niren was the author.
Okay.
And I would like, since this is in some of the same areas that in the review I had for 419 outstanding, it would be nice if we could get 419 in and see if this is even needed.
Right.
or if it's something that could make 419 even better as a follow-up.
So what was Naren's comment? I lost audio for a little while, but Naren said this was VNet. VNet's was some comment related to VNet with this, right?
Yes, because I only use the VNet, so without this change, I cannot make the multi-pawn multicast.
I see. You only tested with VNet.
Yeah, but maybe you should test with the 419 changes.
Right.
We can try. We can try after your this merge.
Okay, so now I am not quite sure of what we're doing. So it sounds like this will be retested after 419 is merged?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Read. Okay. So after the merge, we'll need folks to come back and take a look at this and then figure out a path forward. So it sounds like there may be a chance after the merge, if testing looks okay, that this may get pulled back into Sprint 2? Is that what I heard, Sean?
Or may not even be an issue.
Or may not be. Okay. 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 Got it. All right. So if
So
after,
Sean,
go ahead.
In general, I have a question about like for other vendors also. What is their plan for moving towards the VENet? Because I heard while talking on this, it was maybe Steve Crook, I believe. He says they're planning to move towards the VENet.
Well, just it seemed as though there was other, access to other XPON config details was easier when using VENet as opposed to PON port. That was my reasoning. We haven't made that move yet. If it makes our lives easier, then yeah, I'm all for it. We just haven't got there yet.
Okay, I agree with that part. Also, as per the WT385, if we look at it's only the VENet is the only exposing port outside.
Adrian, you guys familiar with the WT385,
yeah,
right?
We're very familiar. Yes, it's the model of what the outside world does look like. So in the logical device, you don't know if it's a VENet or a PON internal on the southbound of the OLT. I don't see how it would be exposed to the world otherwise. So, PON port or VENet on the southbound is practically identical work.
Right.
All right. So if folks who are kind of actively looking at this issue, 506, if you could watch for when that merge happens for 419, and then have that trigger some retesting, and then post your feedback into the comments on Jira or bring it to VOLTHA Discuss. That's another option if it needs some discussion there, and then see if we can figure out what to do with this issue. So please get your updates in once you see that merge has been done, and then we can circle back to this after that.
And I think yes, and then I do want to emphasize as we do want to be able to support the 385 as much as we can. Okay, so if I think Chip, maybe I'll talk to you separately regarding to what's important.
Yeah, because we're actually using VENet as a programmable interface. The XPON type on the OLT device is internal. It's merely just a coding. Using VENet there doesn't really make any extra sense.
Would that be would there be any kind of translation? Okay. maybe consistently using VNet, would that be avoiding the translation or something like that? Maybe, let's talk offline. Okay.
Yeah, we can get into that.
So, Julie, just to be clear, so all this we're talking about, this is all targeted to 1.1, like this release we're approaching?
The
issue was marked as 1.1.
Yeah. And so I didn't change that now because I'm not sure where this discussion is going to end up. So I moved it into the backlog. So I don't think it's guaranteed anything is going to change right now for this one. And then after the retesting happens, hopefully we'll have a better picture of what needs to happen. And then if there's work to be done, then it could be put into an appropriate release at that point.
Okay, so you still think it, because you mentioned that, when it's merged, then people go back and test it. So this is...
Oh, the 419. 419
yeah,
is
the
merged.
419.
Yeah. So let me go back. I think this was the one I was updating. So it's after, because 419 is in Sprint 2. So once 419 is merged, then the retesting for this issue, I think, if I understood correctly, is what was requested in order to help determine the path forward. Do we need to do work? Okay. And if so, where should it go? Because at this point, I have no idea where it should be placed. Because with the current state of the discussion, I can't put it in Sprint 2. We've got more info to find out first.
Okay, so
does that make sense?
Yeah, Steve, if this merges, then do you expect you'll have any problems if this merges with your existing stuff that's not using VNet?
Well, if I understand, 506 doesn't require VNet. It may duplicate code that in 419.
Okay.
That was how I understood that discussion. We'll test and merge 419, and then 419 may address the issue that was resolved by 506.
Okay, good. That was a good summary.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I don't know, Chip, Aaron, is that your understanding of this?
Yes.
Yeah, I will test it after the 419 is merged, and if I require change, then I will let you know. Then this one needs to be going inside.
That'd be great. Thanks, Naren.
Thank you for that clarification. I hadn't picked up on that. Resolve this issue. Okay. So this issue, which is, what are we on? 506. I'll just call it out. Well, no, I'll just...
Maybe put it in... How many spring we have right now for 101?
Hold on 1 second. So let me make sure I have this right here. So the issue that we're talking about for VOL 506, that issue, I'm trying to see if the note's clear enough for folks. That should be retested after VOL 419 is merged to see if that patch resolves this issue. It's a bit wordy, but does that make more sense now?
I think so.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that catch, Kim. Okay. All right. And then if it resolves the issue, then I expect this will just get closed out. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
If not, then Sean, we need more time.
Exactly. Not, and then we would need to figure out what release it would go in.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would be based on, in part, the amount of effort required to do that.
Yeah.
But Sprint 2 is not likely because we've just got a week left.
No, right.
Okay. So you would ask about the number of issues in Sprint 2?
No, I said how many total sprint we have right now for the... Is there 2 or 4?
I think there's potential for 4. So we have 2 that we're actively working on right now. And then following that, we have some items that we haven't launched the sprint yet, but we have been placing items in there on the adapter side to kind of start developing the scope for Sprint 3. And then there may be a Sprint 4, but we'll have to look at time.
Okay.
Okay. Then I believe, let's see. I think that was all triggered from Vol 460. So Vol 276.
Yeah, that one is going to merge along with the other stuff we talked about earlier.
Yes,
the
that's right, because it's blocked by 507. So
yeah.
That's one of the ones that we're waiting on. And we expect that to go through nicely afterwards. And then we've got same thing for 474, I believe. Yep, because that's blocked by 507.
Yeah, that will fix. Yep.
And then we had.
You have such a good memory.
The chameleon.
Right, that 463. All right, when the dust all settles on all of this U-test and the Jenkins build and all that stuff, then that's when.
Yes.
That's when we'll take chameleon out of the Volta build and out of all of the tests and all of that stuff and get decoupled from chameleon.
Okay, so I think the status for this one in the sprint, in terms of my take on things, is that whether this gets wrapped up and closed out in this particular sprint depends on when the rest of this is resolved. If there's not time left, then we've got to kind of look at things again. If this all is resolved quickly, then I think it sounds like there's still time to hopefully get this one resolved as well. So I think the last note we had in here is probably okay for now. We have it positioned in the sprint for after the other U-test issues are resolved, and then we'll see what happens. So hopefully we will know better on our next meeting. And then we do have a couple adapter items in here. Let's see, Volt 306, and let's see, is blocked by all the blockers are closed. Do we have an update on this one? I know we don't often talk about the adapter ones on this call.
That one is still right. It's been imminent for the last week, and it was that one is still coming. So we hope that that within the next day or so that one gets pushed out. It's pretty minor.
All right, sounds good. And then Vol 512, this was one that had been, I think, scoped in fairly recently.
Trivial one, and that will get rolled up in all of those 507.
Yes, we've got the 507 as well.
Issues.
Okay.
Yes.
And then now we're into the block that we'd added in a block of adapter issues during the last call. And so we've got 513. Since there wasn't an adapter call this week, I'll just kind of quickly ask for items here. It looks like, let me go over to the larger view.
Yeah, that's still in progress. It's kind of wrapping up coding and integration with the reconciliation part is going on, which is the next story.
All right, sounds good. So I think I heard you say that's for the next one as well for 514. You said there was a comment posted there also. Okay.
Yeah.
And then 515.
Yeah, let's. That one there is a. I just need to merge that code. It's up in Garrett. It's been reviewed. It's been +2'd. I just have to merge it.
Got it.
And I will close it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at that one.
I can see that now. We've got that in Garrett. Good.
Yeah. So that one will
close. Just do it. Just do it.
Right. I only got 100 others. So things that are under control, you don't have to worry about, right? So.
Okay, and then the last one that's on here right now is Vol 516.
Yeah, that's, I guess, it's going to be kicked off basically once we have the swarm mode and reconciliation integrated together.
Yes.
So that's kind of waiting on that one.
Okay. So do we need to add a link here for this one to that issue?
Yeah, probably to the swarm mode and the reconciliation one. So.
And I don't remember the number offhand. Let's see here.
I think it's like 13 and 14.
13,
yeah, 13 and 14.
13 and 14, yes.
Yeah.
And uh, 14.
5 foot area, yeah.
And do you want this just as a relates to, or
yes.
should I put it as a blocked by since you're waiting on that? Just a relates to is fine?
You could put blocked by, I guess. I mean,
yeah, blocked by would be appropriate.
Okay. And I had just placed them in as relates to. I'll figure out how to change that after.
Change it later. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I will look at that later. Okay, then I think we have covered the issues for today.
So there's one more thing to bring up that's related with this, Julie. Pull up the VOLTHA Discuss. Raghu posted something there. This is a thing we want to have for. This may turn into an issue. Bug. We're not sure if it, if something's being done wrong here, but we can't see if this delete is working with XPawn. So we'd like some feedback on that. Is anybody else able to do this? Has demonstrated this functionality? If so, we need to figure out what we're doing wrong. If not, then this needs to be we need to raise a JIRA bug for it.
Yeah, one thing, I actually looked at that error message this morning, where it doesn't provide an error message, and it might actually be something in the command line. He's not providing the right information in the VONT any delete command. It could be one, because I actually tracked down why it wasn't, it just says error and doesn't give you why.
Yes.
Yeah, I tracked that down, so.
Actually, we already tested these parts of the delete, and if you can try with PwnSim, and if you still see the problem, let us know.
Hey, Raghu, are you on?
Yeah, Niran, it's Raghu here. If you look at down, we could able to add VONTNI through using the XPawn command. That's why the below log says, where if you look at this in AT&T Golden User, and we use the same commands which has been told in the commit log.
Yeah, but if you can try with PwnSim first and see if it works both the create and delete, and if it doesn't work with the delete in the PwnSim, let us know. Otherwise, it would be something within your adapters.
No, what I meant to say is I didn't see this command which is coming to the VOLTHA itself from the CLI.
Yeah, you might want to try the command and specify the preferred channel pair on the command line.
Maybe I can try that.
Yeah, if you look at XPawn handler around line 1225, those are all the asserts where it's checking whether the command's valid or not. So it might be hitting one of those asserts between 1210 and about 1246.
Okay, I tell you what. Why don't we just put an issue in for this anyway? Chip, it sounds like you have some good feedback on that. Let's just put it in a JIRA and we can continue in there. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the commands we used from XPawn as well.
Yeah, because I saw you worked it, right? So it worked.
Yeah, it did work. I'm struggling here at the moment to actually find the commands that we used.
Maybe if we have it in a JIRA, we can go back to the JIRA to, track this a little bit.
Yeah, but it does work.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's what we're looking for, is to see what's going on that's wrong here. If this is an adapter thing, like Raghu mentioned, it doesn't seem to be coming down correctly. So.
And sometimes if you have extra space, it may cause some error also. So. Why don't you? Okay. Do we want Raghu just open a Jira or what?
No, I think if everyone is saying it's working, maybe someone send me the command what they used. Maybe we can try it and test it. If not,
okay.
maybe I can open a Jira bug. If not.
Raghu, just one thing. Do you have a VNet that's created under this VONTANI?
Yes.
Then you have to delete the VNet first, did you?
No, I think that is it mandatory that we have to delete the VNet before the VONTANI. It should be it should be other way. When we delete the VONTANI,
Oh, it should be
everything should be
first and then the VONTANI afterwards. There's a dependency.
Right. We deleted it in the exact opposite order that they were added.
Yeah.
You reverse it.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, you have to go into the stack order, the create, and the delete will be the reverse stack order.
That's exactly what we did.
Maybe
and
one
the command
question.
is identical.
Would it be helpful to have a documentation of how to use the exponse command?
That really helps actually.
No.
Everybody seems to be confused with which order to do things.
By the way, yeah.
It would be nice to have a documentation, like a really clear documentation of to use expon. This is what you do, and when you delete, this is how you do it.
Yeah, but it's just a plain, right? Just like we can see in the source code everywhere. The
we
stack
don't
order
need to look, but we shouldn't be looking in the source code to run the commands, right?
Yeah, but there is not much documentation on other places as well, right? Expon is not just the one
Okay,
place.
yes. Okay, guys and girl. The command we have received from the operator is documentation sucks. Okay, so
okay, right. There you go.
Yeah, let's start breaking it and on a wiki or
both
something.
From Telefonica, and then and DT and AT&T, of course. Documentation sucks. So everybody is to be blamed on this. Okay, so that's one of the to-do thing we need to do. Don't the user doesn't go to look at the source code. So just keep that in mind. So Raghu, can you test this reverse order and then see whether that works?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
And
I'll do one thing. We have this ticket for VOLTHA 151 and 152 where you are familiar with, where we put all the script for the create.
Yes.
So I'll add the delete scripts also there in that same place. So you have in one place then.
Sure. Thanks, Naren.
That'd be great.
Even if we have to do the documentation, let us know where to do it. We will just put those scripts into that document. That's all the documentation from Expon.
Can you also add update as well? It took me some time to realize I had to provide every parameter, even the ones that weren't changing.
The update is blocked right now because the update we need there is a ticket already raised for the database change, which is with the Ken, I believe. The current database tool doesn't allow us to know what has been changed. So until that, we cannot do anything with database with the update. Do you want the number of that ticket?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Just give me one minute. I'll retrieve it from my side.
So while Naren is looking at the VOLTHA ticket, and I hope Naren is still listening. We have a proposal regarding to the technical lockdown on November 9th in California. Based on the outcome from yesterday's operators meeting, as I said, Deutsche Telekom and Telefonica is involved. the central link was on the call, and then actually the orange Poland will show up for a little bit. What I think we need, the operator, we need to have another more another session of the meeting before we can sort out the priority. One thing the operator has been asking us is what has been delivered in VOLTA 1.0 and VOLTA 1.1, and other operator may not have very clear set of the features have been delivered. So Tim Marshall and I and Julie, we're going to go back to try to do a better update on the release note, and they also asked what, like for example on the VOLTA 2.0, we say the PON config 2 or something 2. So what does the 2 means, right? So they are asking a lot more detailed information before they can prioritize the list of the features we need to be supporting with VOLTA 2.0. So the conclusion is the operator needs another section to discuss this list. So the November 9th meeting will not happen among the technical leads. So I'm sorry if you already make arrangement about travel. So that's the update. The meeting was very, very positive, and all the vendors, not vendor, the operator attended. They're all strong supporters of the VOLTA. They really want to see the things grow way beyond where we are right now. So it's a very, I think it's a very encouraging meeting.
Sean, what was this? What was your statement on the config and the number 2?
There's a PON config number 2. If you go look at the original roadmap regarding to the VOLTA 2.0, there's something like phase 2 of the PON config, for example.
Oh, I see. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So is that including WT 383? Is that?
What's the 383?
Yeah, it's a service flow configuration.
I think right now the scope part. I think the PON config basically. I don't want to just focus on the PON config, but that's just one example, right? So I think there's still a lot of story. The technical lead open those user stories in the beginning of the VOLTA 1.0, and potentially we have to go through. Basically, phase 2 will finish all the stuff of the already existing the user story. That's what I taught today with Sarisha. That's what she said. She said she already entered all the story there, but we just have a set of the priority ones already implemented, but there are some leftover need to be continued to implement based on WT385, for example, for the PON config. But the alarm and PM stuff definitely is very important. I think the Telefonica is very is looking for that. Containerize of the adapter also is high on the list. So anyway, so the conclusion is there will be no November 9th technical lead meeting, and then we'll after we return back to the United States, and then we'll have a second session with the the operators, and then we'll get a better picture before after that. Okay, Naren, have you found out the VOLTA ticket?
Yeah, I did. It's 314. Yeah, this one.
That's major. That would be a major change in the data model. So it's not something that would be in the current sprint. I think this even should be a VOLTHA 2.0 change.
Yeah, that's fine. It's been raised like quite a long time, and this one is the one which will block me from update. That's all I want to say.
Okay. So the post update, it depends on this one to be fixed. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
Niranjan.
I will make sure that in 151 and 152 both are updated for delete part. So Raghu, you can use it that one.
Okay, I just had one question. Let's say in case of we need remove or something, the jump port and tcons related to this, will it be automatically pushed? These delete will be pushed to adapters, or explicitly we need to delete jump port before the VNet?
Just like the last I said, like in the create script, we go from in the stack order, right? So you have to go in the reverse order. So that means you have to delete the jump port, tcons, then enet, and then the ONT.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Because there is no direct link between, like there is no auto delete for them actually.
Okay. No, the reason I asked, everything will have a reference. Let's say VNet as a reference of VONT. I was just asking because of that. Okay, thanks.
Yes, that's right. Because that's basically mainly coming from the netconf. Netconf doesn't allow you to delete it.
Okay.
And we are over time. I wanted to just check quickly, is there anything else we need to discuss with the group here today? Okay, I think we've covered a lot. Sean, if you could send out an email as well related to the change in plans for November 9th, then that way people who weren't on the call here today will have that notification as well.
Okay.
Okay. On the Xpon config interface, are we going to block update, just allow create and delete?
I think that's probably the way it is right now.
Yes, that's right.
Well, no, that's not the way it is. You can issue the commands, and the commands just air out. If you don't provide every parameter, it airs out. If you do provide them, it accepts the command, right?
But nothing happens.
No, only the way it can work it is right. You have to give entire command as is, like your previous values also, that you don't want to change it as well, and the new values that you want to change it as well. Let's say you have 5 attributes on the command, and only one of them you want to change it. So you need to give the 4 command that was previously what their value was. So first you can retrieve and put the 4 as is, and the 5th one that you want to change.
Right, and that was my earlier comment, that it doesn't work unless you provide all of them.
Yeah.
So what's 314 then? Is that? I thought that would block any implementation of that unless you restarted the whole system.
Yes, 314 is meaning is like, let's say you have a. Let me give the example of that. Like, let's say you have the bandwidth profile traffic descriptor assigned to a tcon, which is 1, and then you go back and want to do the traffic descriptor 2. Okay, so as a adapter or as a on the other side of the Xpon agent, you want to know what was changed, whether it was changed from 1 to 2 or something else to 2. That we don't know, because as an adapter or as a Xpon agent, I like to know what was changed actually, right? So that I can take a right action. So that's where. So it might work in some certain cases where you don't care about the what is being changed. In some cases you will be blocked. It goes by case by case.
So, as Sean said, should we just block update entirely and say it's not supported?
Yeah, that's my opinion as well, and that's how I take the stance, because otherwise we had to go like each attributes and tell us that okay, this works, this doesn't work, this works, and this doesn't work.
I have no objection, just block it all. But of course, right now, my brain may not be thinking correctly. So, do we need a vote?
Are you in the different time zone today?
Actually,
no,
yeah. I'm in Berlin, so.
Oh, okay. So that's.
Well, we don't want people wasting time trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, right?
Right.
Yeah. I vote to block the update.
Okay.
If it's not working, let's just block it. Yeah.
Agree.
Okay, can we return something intelligent, like not supported, or rather than just error?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to remove the command entirely?
Maybe
I would prefer keeping the command.
Right, and just send out the error so that this command is not supported.
Yeah.
Okay, Julie, thank you very much.
Okay.
I think that for me, I'm leaving.
I think we are done for today. So thank you, everyone. I will go ahead and stop the recording, and the recording will be posted later on. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.